The Shadows of the Vanishing. Mara had always been drawn to stories that whispered secrets, but the disappearances in her hometown were unlike anything she'd encountered. People vanished without a trace, no signs of struggle or clues left behind. The only common thread was a peculiar darkness that seemed to seep into the edges of the places they were last seen. With her notebook and camera in hand, Mara decided to uncover what hid behind those shadows, even if it meant walking into the unknown. Her investigation led her to an old library where faded newspaper clippings spoke of similar vanishings decades ago. The town's history was riddled with rumors of a presence that preyed on fear itself, consuming it until its victims simply ceased to exist. Mara felt the weight of unseen eyes watching her as she pieced together the stories, a creeping chill crawling up her spine that made the hair on her neck stand. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mara found herself walking the streets alone. The shadows stretched unnaturally long, twisting with a life of their own. A whisper brushed past her ear, just beyond comprehension, urging her to turn back. But something compelled her forward, a mix of dread and determination. She sensed the shadows were watching, waiting, hungry for someone to falter. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the shadows seemed to pulse and shift. Mara's heart pounded as she caught a glimpse of something just beyond the edge of her vision, a silhouette darker and more defined than the rest. It moved with deliberate slowness, its form barely perceptible, yet undeniably there. Her breath hitched, but she raised her camera and snapped a photo, hoping to capture proof of what the town refused to acknowledge. Reviewing the photo, Mara's blood ran cold. The figure was more than shadow, it had eyes, hollow and endless, staring straight through her. The image distorted and shimmered, as if the presence itself resisted being caught. She realized then that the shadows weren't just darkness. They were a force, an entity feeding on absence and silence, growing stronger with every lost soul. Determined, Mara sought out an old town historian who spoke in hushed tones of a curse tied to the land, an ancient pact that had been broken, unleashing the shadows to claim what was owed. The historian warned her that the shadows could pull her in if she gave in to fear. Mara understood that to survive, she had to confront those fears head-on and bring light to the darkness before it consumed her too. On the final night, Mara returned to the heart of the town where the vanishings began. She carried a lantern, its warm glow battling the encroaching darkness. As shadows gathered, twisting and coalescing into forms, Mara stood firm, speaking words she'd found in ancient texts, words meant to banish the unseen. Light and sound filled the air, and the shadows recoiled, dissolving like mist. When dawn broke, the town breathed easier. Mara knew the shadows hadn't vanished forever, but for now, they had been held at bay. Though the disappearances stopped, Mara remained watchful. The shadows of the vanishing were a reminder that some darkness always lingers, waiting for the moment fear weakens resolve. And as she documented her experience, she knew the story was far from over. The shadows would always have their place, just beyond the edge of sight.